Just coffee and maybe 12 hours of coma-level sleep, that was all I asked for. I muttered it to no one in particular, my hands still trembling on the steering wheel as I turned onto my quiet suburban street. 42 hours awake, propped up on stale protein bars and pure adrenaline, courtesy of a botched extraction in Switzerland involving uncooked pasta used as a cipher method. Don't ask. The Alps were breathtaking, sure, but frostbite and back alley firefights tend to dull your appreciation. All I wanted was a shower, my bed, and to be left alone. But as I pulled into my driveway, that first pinprick of unease lit up my spine. The landscaping, which I paid dearly to resemble a botanical magazine cover, was wild, overgrown. The mailbox was empty. No flyers, no junk mail, no newspaper on the steps. Then I saw the doormat. My usual one, the one that cheekily said warrants only, was gone. In its place sat a rigid, brand-new mat that read, "Compliance starts at the door." HOA. It reeked of Karen. I tried to brush it off. Maybe Karen, the self-appointed czar of our homeowners association, decided to tidy up while I was gone. But then I saw a neighbor's curtain snap shut just a beat too quickly. My instincts, dulled by jet lag but not dead, kicked in. At my front door, I slid my key into the lock. It didn't turn. Tried again. Nothing. The back door, the garage keypad, same story. Then I saw it. A neon orange sticker affixed to a new, unfamiliar deadbolt. Access revoked by HOA Security Authority. Property temporarily seized under Article 12C of Community Code Conduct. Contact HOA Authority for access. Seized? My mind went from foggy to red alert. I scanned the street. Nobody. Fine. I crouched, slipped a bark chip from the sole of my boot, and pulled out a bent hairpin. 15 seconds later, the lock clicked. The door creaked open, and before I could step in, a screech pierced the morning air. "You can't do that. That's a violation." Karen, hands on hips across the street in full alpha mode. I didn't answer. I just shut the door behind me. Forget the shower. I grabbed my duffel bag and headed straight to the HOA office, which was, laughably, a shed masquerading as a bureaucracy hub. Karen was there, sipping from a mug that read, "I'm not bossy, I'm authoritative." "Alex, back already?" she chirped, nasal and smug. Neighbors expressed concerns. "You were deemed security risk adjacent." "Security risk adjacent," I echoed. She slid a laminated violation sheet toward me. Infractions included grass texture inconsistent with neighborhood standards, excessive garage security, and lack of seasonal decor. I didn't argue. I took the visitor pass they offer, which gave me 72 hours of permission to be in my own house, and walked out. But I wasn't tired anymore. Karen wasn't bold or smart enough to change my locks. Someone else had to be behind this, and the timing right after I returned from an overseas mission was too perfect to ignore. I began surveillance. I grabbed an old leash and walked the neighborhood, pretending to take a dog out. The moment I stepped onto the sidewalk, I felt its eyes. A delivery truck loitered at the curb too long. Curtains twitched. A jogger circled the block, scanning me too deliberately. Then I spotted it. A white van 2 streets over, half hidden behind an oak. 5 mismatched antennas jutted from its roof, and the outline of a peeled-off thermal imaging sticker was still visible. The side door cracked open. Inside, a man in a pro headset stared right at me. Then the van rolled away. I snapped a photo. Plate was smeared, barcode fake. Back home, I pulled out my signal detector. Amid Wi-Fi clutter and Bluetooth noise, I found it. A clean, directional pulse. Military grade. I triangulated it. It led to a decorative birdhouse on Karen's flagpole. I needed backup. Miles lived 3 doors down. Ex-Navy cryptanalyst, semi-retired hacker. His house was a digital fortress disguised as a collapsing cottage. "Got a problem," I said. "Give me the frequency," he replied, already typing. When I mentioned the birdhouse, he smirked, then frowned. "This isn't amateur hour. Clean signal, tight beam, relaying through a weird node. Wait, someone just tried to breach my firewall. Sophisticated. I'm rerouting them to Vladivostok. But they know someone's sniffing." This wasn't HOA tyranny. This was something else. That night, we hit the HOA office again. Miles disabled their looped security cam remotely. I picked the lock with an old Blockbuster card. Inside, we found a locked storage room labeled "Compliant Materials Only." It was a command center. Servers buzzed. Screens showed live feeds into homes, including mine. There were USBs, surveillance logs, timestamps, notes on residents. One folder had my agency name, not Alex's real name. Disguises, license plates, timestamps. Karen couldn't have gotten that. There were 3 other files on residents with federal backgrounds. The digital data was linked to identical servers in HOAs near DC and San Diego. On a nearby tablet, Miles recovered a deleted chat. User Sableeagle, target still unaware. Local puppet complaint proceeding. Interference will be neutralized if necessary. Karen wasn't the villain. She was the front. The HOA was a shell for a surveillance op targeting intel veterans. And the Switzerland mission. The timing wasn't coincidence. It was all connected. We called it Operation Suburban Showdown. I showed up to the next HOA cookout in a Hawaiian shirt carrying potato salad. I played dumb, joked about being in Montana writing a novel about psychic trees. Karen twitched visibly. She handed me a new letter. A voluntary in-home compliance check program. Sounded like surveillance expansion. I pressed her. Who developed this? A consulting firm, she said. It's confidential. We began a counteroffensive. I spread disinformation in earshot of suspected bugs. Miles built a signal scrambler that looped fake footage into surveillance channels. I hijacked the HOA drone, made it follow Karen's car. Then I synced every smart sprinkler to trigger as Karen's inspection committee rounded the corner. She slipped and tumbled into a garden gnome collection. It hit TikTok by dinner. Next day, my car was tampered with. Message received. But it was our move now. I held a perfectly HOA-compliant barbecue. As neighbors enjoyed lemonade and ribs, I projected footage of anonymized data feeds from the hidden surveillance network. Karen panicked. She sprinted for my breaker box, but I had a generator. The lights stayed on. That night, someone attempted a sophisticated VPN breach. From a satellite uplink, we analyzed footage of the white van. It showed up every 12 hours, stayed 43 minutes. Miles thermal filtered the footage, 2 men carrying gear from a retired postal worker's house. A covert data hub. That same van was flagged near the last known residence of David Chin, a colleague who vanished after a counterintelligence mission. Then we found the worst part. A photo from inside my living room taken the night before I returned from Switzerland. The exact minute the courier I was tracking went dark. They weren't just watching me. They were inside my home, maybe planting bugs. The lockout was a smokescreen. I set a trap, packed a Pelican case with fake intel, marked Aegis Analytics, a defunct front company. Included phony comms logs, Karen's authorization to conduct surveillance, a map of fake nodes. I left it on my porch. 2 hours later, Karen took the bait. She wore gloves. Opened it. Panicked. Took it to the HOA office. We activated the server room cam. Minutes later, a man entered. Bishop, the ex-CIA asset gone rogue. Karen handed him the file. He shredded it, then leaned in and said, "If you talk, you vanish." She crumbled. I cornered Bishop as he left, using a plumbing van to block his path. He saw me. We locked eyes. 2 predators. He fled. That night, we sent everything: server data, video of Bishop, maps, logs to the press, an independent journalist, and a trusted federal contact. The news broke fast. Suburban spy ring uncovered. Karen vanished. Bishop went on the run. Lawsuits poured in. Neighbors tore down GNOME cams and filed to dissolve the HOA. One rainy day, I got a letter in my mailbox, hand-addressed, sealed in wax. Inside, one line: "You weren't the only one they were watching. You reminded us to watch back." I burned it. Then I swept my house again. Found 3 bugs I missed. High-frequency transmitters. Karen didn't plant them. She just opened the door. I rebuilt my security from scratch. No cloud. No remote access. Just me and layered systems. I added a decoy safe, reprogrammed my smart assistant to speak cryptic Russian quotes, and changed the mat to say, "Try me." One day, a moving truck pulled up to Karen's old house. Out stepped Sarah, one of my trainees from Langley. She smiled. Heard the neighborhood was quiet now. "Relatively speaking," I said, helping her and her observant husband carry a box labeled Gov training equipment. Later that night, I sat on my porch. The air smelled normal. Quiet. I pulled up the last camera feed and empty server room. Because around here, locks don't keep you safe. People do. And this time I was watching back,